You're listening to Ask Mr. Brown. Got questions? Well, ask Mr. Brown. He'll give you his perspective on your questions. He's a speaker, a mentor. He's the choice guy who wants to help you make better choices to live a better life. So go ahead, ask Mr. Brown.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining for another episode of Ask Mr. Brown. As our announcer said, you're listening to, but some of you may be actually watching on YouTube or on Facebook, or maybe a segment of this has been on Instagram or IGTV, and who knows, it may be some other new platform we put these on. I want this to go on every platform possible, so thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and hopefully my perspective on your questions is beneficial and helpful for you. And so if you got a question, I'd love for you to submit it. Just visit askmrbrown.com. Again, today we have another question that was pre-recorded, and this is pre-recorded by Rachel Hudson again. Hey, Rachel, you almost like a co-host, girl. That'd be pretty good to have different co-hosts on the show. So if you got multiple questions, maybe we can do several episodes, and you can almost be a co-host of the show, Ask Mr. Brown. And you can even put that on your resume when you get older. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. And again, I'm giving you my perspective on your question. But if you got some different insight, different things you'd like to say, whether you're an adult, whether you're a kid, your voice matters. So I love to hear what you have to say. I can't put everything on the show, but that feedback is very beneficial. One way you can do that is by calling our 24-hour feedback phone, 530-535-8121. You can also text that number, and we will get that message as well. When you call, no one will answer that number. That is a voicemail line, and we will check it, and we will get that message and take your feedback and use it accordingly or appropriately the way we should. But let's get on with this episode. I want to thank our sponsor for the day. We have a sponsor today. It is YourReadingDentist.com. Actually, the name is Sutherland DDS. They have been supporters of us for a long time, and they're sponsoring this episode of Ask Mr. Brown. If you need your teeth cleaned, you need your teeth looked at, you need them examined, even if you got a cavity or something, check them out at Sutherland DDS. They take care of you. And I will tell you a quick story. My wife had some pretty bad experiences with dentists in the past. And when we came to Reading and we found this dentist, she actually enjoyed going to the dentist. Now, that sounds crazy, right? Nobody really enjoys going to the dentist. But her experience compared to the other place was amazing. And what I really like about Dr. Sutherland and the team there is that he doesn't want to see you, and Dr. John Lewis too, Dr. Lewis as well. They don't want to see you under the drill. They don't want to see you with that big old the needle in your jaw. They want to do the preventive care. They want to educate you and motivate you to take care of your own teeth, so they don't have to do the stuff that no one likes being done. So they are really good on educating you, motivating you to get the things done you need to get done. So check them out at YourReadingDentist.com. That's YourReadingDentist.com, because they want to be your dentist. Oh, yeah. Now let's jump into our episode. This episode of Ask Mr. Brown, where should I give you the question, or should I let her ask the question? Should I tell the question ahead of time, or should I let her ask the question? I think I'm going to let Rachel, our esteemed temporary co-host, ask the question. All right, what is your question?
You've met a lot of people. Was there one experience that really stuck out to you?
I have met a lot of people, and the question is there one experience that really stuck out to me? There's several experiences that stuck out to me for different reasons, and I'm gonna give you two, just because one of them was kind of frightful to me, and the other one is sad, but is also a story of a victory, in the sense that I think this kid has overcome some very, very difficult situations. So the first one was this. I was speaking up at, I'll just tell you what, I was at Lassen High School up in Susanville, and I spoke 4 times. At this high school, I spoke to every age group, like 9th grade to 10th grade, every grade. And I think after the sophomores, I noticed this kid was a little break. Yeah, it was because we had a little break between the 10th and 11th graders. I noticed the kids came up to me, we're talking, and which I really enjoy when kids come up to me and talk about things specifically and kind of get detailed. And this one kid was off to the left, and I noticed him out of the corner of my eye. He was just staring at me, just watching everyone else. And I could tell he wanted to come up and say something. So he waited till everyone else had come. Everyone else was done, and I was kind of setting some stuff up. And he came up to me and said, "Mr. Brown, I got to tell you, I respect you. I really respect you." And I was like, "Thanks." And he says, "I thought I would never say something like that to someone like you, because my family are members of the KKK, or the Ku Klux Klan, which is a white supremacy group. And he's like, they're members of it, and I never thought I would, say something like that to you, someone like
Mm.
you. And I was like, wow,
Wow.
wow. And my response was, they live here in Susanville. And to me that was unforgettable because I would have never thought that. I never thought, of course we know in our minds that people, are out there like that who hate anyone who's not white, and I get that. But then seeing that this kid was influenced by that in such a way that he at one point would never respect someone who was not white, who was a black man.
Wow.
And for him to hear my message and listen to my message for one, and then come up and tell me that, that meant a lot to me. That here I am
Yeah.
breaking barriers in a sense and hoping to open people's minds. And I do get a little bit of flack from some people who say to me, shouldn't you be working in the inner city somewhere? These big cities need someone like you. And I'll go anywhere. You want to hire me? Bring me. I'll go to any big city. I'll go to anywhere and speak around the world. As long as you pay me and buy me some chicken wings, I'll go. Um, and even if they don't pay me, I would love to be able to influence, but I have to support what I do, as many people as possible, no matter what their color and race. And so, primarily right now, I live in a predominantly white community, and I speak in a lot of predominantly white areas. And to me, it's not about the skin color; it's about the people. That I can reach people regardless of their background or what they look like or their age. I can reach people of all ages. And so for me, that meant a lot because it kind of validated the fact that I can influence areas that I never thought possible. Because I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing. I don't know what I thought. I thought I'd be in business somewhere making money. But so that one stuck out to me because of that component, that I helped hopefully change his mind about the biases or the prejudice and the racism that he's grew up experiencing and hearing from his family members, that through this interaction, he broke some of those barriers down. So that was really cool. The
Wow.
second one is not as positive on front at the beginning. And I'll tell you, I often do this session with students that I've worked with in the past. It's called Not Easy Being Me. And so I've been working with this school
Mhm.
for a while. Actually, at this particular time, I had a whole week of working with these kids. It was during their, I forgot what they call it, personal development class. It was a whole week, every day I was at their school. And I did all the age groups. And so we were building some deeper relationships. So I did a session, it's called It's Not Easy Being Me. So I simply put that one on the board, It's Not Easy Being Me. And I asked kids how many can relate to that question, It's Not Easy Being Me. Most of the hands went up, if not all of them. And then I said, does anybody want to share why it's not easy being me? So this one kid, he raised his hand right away, and he said a joke. He was trying to be funny. He was a class clown. I let it go.
Mhm.
So, okay, thank you. Next person. Next person raised her hand, was a girl. She said, Mr. Brown's not easy being me because my parents always fight. They argue at night, and I'm afraid they're going to get divorced. And she started crying,
Mhm.
and her friends come around and start hugging her, and it was really cool. I said, thank you for sharing. That can be very hard to share. And I said, how many of you did not know that about her? And the majority of the kids raised her, and they didn't know she was struggling with that. Then that same boy who raised his hand the first time raised his hand again, and he says, "It's not easy being me because me and my siblings were all sexually and physically abused by my parents.
Mhm.
They're in prison. Me and all my siblings are in different foster homes, and then I was in foster homes for years, and then I finally got adopted. And when I got adopted, my adopted family did the exact same thing to me, sexually and physically abused me. And by this time, he started crying. And this was the class clown. And this is the kid who always got in trouble, always, vocal. And like I talked about before, he was hurting. And so sometimes he would just lash out and do different things. And he began to cry. He continued to tell a story that he's been taken out of that home. And his siblings are all in different homes. That him and one of his younger siblings go to the same school, but they live in different homes. And even his youngest daughter, the only one who wasn't abused, was his youngest, not daughter, his youngest sister, who was actually born in prison. And
Mhm.
and this kid is now. I found out later we talked that day, and I found out now he's in a safer home. He's in a better place, safe home, better place, and he's growing. And so we had sat down. So I did the same thing at that point. I said, "Hey, thank you for sharing. I know that can be hard to share, and I think that was hugely difficult to share with his classmates." And I said, "How many
Wow.
knew that? How many knew that about him? How many did not know that about him?" And all the hands went up, including the teachers in the room, did not know what this kid had been through.
Mhm.
And you talk about empathy now, like they understand a little bit about why he is the way he is and why he acts the way he acts. And so later that day, I got to spend time with him. We went outside, we were shooting some hoops together, shooting around and talking. And I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry you went through that situation, and I know it's going to cause a lot of trust issues. And he's in counseling. He was in counseling at the time, probably still is in counseling because that's tough to go through. And I looked at him. I said, man, but although you went through that, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in your life because you can overcome that. Homework should be a breeze. I mean, like you've overcome this life. This is hard. You overcome this, man. I can't wait to see what God's going to do through your life because you're still standing. You're still here. You haven't given up. You haven't thrown in the towel. And you're still here. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with your life.
Wow.
And so I've never forgotten that because that's a tough life to deal with. And I'm pretty sure, and I told him I'm not, and I even told the kids, I'm not trying to play the comparison game. I'm not trying to say whose life is worse than whose, but that's tough to deal with. And all the things that have broken down for that to happen, even the system that allowed you to be put back in the exact same situation you were in before, and those predators and those people that would do that to you, man, that's horrible. But at the end of the day, I can't wait to see how you continue to thrive because you're still standing, you're still here. And that says to me that there's gonna be some great things come out of your life. And so we had a good talk, and we talked for a while, and I still can't wait to see what's gonna come out of his life. So that story stuck out to me the most because what can be a story of just horrific things can be a story of redemption and victory, of overcoming some of the worst of mankind. And so I've never forgot that story, and I share that story with students all the time because I think, yeah, that was probably the worst, but yet out of that can come some beautiful things. And not that it won't be easy, it's going to be hard. I mean, counseling and help and just trust, but I think he can still overcome it, and he is. So that's one of the stories that I've heard that's kind of helped me understand that what I do can be helpful to people. And I think what I saw for the rest of that year is some kids, and I saw a change in him too when he shared that with his classmates, how he began to act differently, how he was a little bit. I think because sometimes you hold that in and it becomes this prison, like this prison of you're hoping no one ever finds out. You hope people don't think something about you. But now that it's out there, he was able to be himself a little bit more. And I saw kids around him being more compassionate to him, not always talking about the issue and saying, oh, but yet seeing him as a person because the mask had come down, the walls have come down, and knowing that he struggles. So no jokes about your mama, no jokes about, none of that stuff's going to happen because you see this person as a person. So that's one story I will never, ever forget.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for asking. That was a great question. And thank you so much for your time. This was really, I don't know about you, but I think Rachel has asked some really good questions. Thank you, Rachel. And if you got a question, I'd love to get your question and give you my perspective on your question. Hopefully these episodes are beneficial to you, even though those two stories were, one of them was both of them are interesting and just shows you how people grow up differently and their experiences are different. And I think we need to have compassion for other people because we don't know what they're going through. It's one of the comments I get from students all the time. Like I ask them, what'd you take away from our message or my assembly? And they say that you never know what somebody else is going through and you have no idea. So have compassion for other people, take a step back and just think about what they may be going through and you don't know. So thanks for joining us. Hopefully that episode has helped you out. And if you got your own question, you got a perspective, again, we'd love your feedback. We would like your feedback. I got to teach my kids to love people and like things. And your feedback is a thing. So I like it. I don't love it. I love my kids. I love people. Anyway, that's another subject, maybe for the Mr. Brown Show. Maybe you should check out that podcast too. The Mr. Brown. Go to hellomrbrown.com and check out all the podcasts we do because I really enjoy doing these podcasts for you because my message is simple. When you make better choices, you will live a better life. So choose well. Oh, yeah. Thanks for joining us for this episode, and hopefully you'll join us for the next episode of Ask Mr. Brown.
You like free stuff? You know you like free stuff. Well, you could win some by leaving your question or your comment on the 24-hour feedback phone at 530-535-8121. Did you get that? 530-535-8121. Or visit our website at AskMrBrown.com.